Hey guys, Andrew Dom here, or Clayakn, and I'm here with Higher Learning Gaming Episode 5, titled The Truth Will Set You Free. I really hope you guys enjoy this episode. I'm excited about this episode, and I hope you guys learn something new from it. Let's get started. What's up, everyone? I hope everyone's doing well and living the dream. I know I am each and every day, and I try my best to reflect that. For this episode, I want to try something different. I want to try speaking more from the heart rather than speaking from the mind, because I want this to be less scripted. I want it to be where I am talking personally to you guys. I don't want to be, I just share information. I want you guys to have a personal connection of how I think, and I want you guys to give me the same thing. For this episode, it is titled The Truth Will Set You Free, and I'll try my best to explain what that means exactly. But first off, what I want to mention is just a little bit of an overview. Today's episode is very simple. First, I'm just going to talk about what I believe is the truth, and then give examples afterwards of how I see truth in the world. Very simple, right? So here's my definition of what the truth is. I believe that the truth is about perception. And it's different from being honest, because being honest is your intention. So honesty it relates to someone lying or someone stealing, which is their intention. Truth, however, is how you perceive the world. And what that means is that everyone has a different idea of what truth is. And you can create what your world is. If you believe the world is full of negative people and all this hate is boiled up inside of you because you just hate everyone, because you see it everywhere, you see it on the news, you see it in your family, then that's going to be your truth of what the world is about. And if someone else believes about the world saying, oh, it's very positive, I love the world, it's full of love, I love my family, my friends treat me very well, there's always someone doing good in the world. I believe both people are speaking the truth. It's all about how they perceive the world. And that's how I go about my everyday living. Is a lot of people ask me, hey Andrew, how is it you're able to keep living the way you do? How do you keep motivating yourself to do work when it feels like other people give up? And I tell them, I just believe this is what I was meant to do. I perceive this as the truth. This is my true self. I was meant to do everything that I'm doing right now. And it's good. If you keep believing that you're in a negative world, then you're going to stay there forever. And I believe the first way you change yourself is the way you start asking better questions. And it's about the way you think about yourself as well. Every time you see yourself in the mirror, what are you telling yourself? Are you saying, this guy in the mirror, this guy was meant to do something great. Let's go out there and show it. Or are you saying, man, this guy, he's done so many bad things in the past. I don't think you're going to be able to do your dreams. You don't deserve to do your dreams. You should just listen to your family and just stay in line and not really do much in the world. It's up to you to decide. And that's why I feel like it's vitally important to change your mentality. And then from there, everything else will come into fruition. When I was thinking about what to say in this podcast, an image came into my mind called the Statue of Depression. And underneath the statue, the caption would say, "This man is eternally depressed because he's thinking about all the sadness in the world." And I feel like that's very true for what everyone's doing right now. Is they look at the news, they see the politics, they see all the tragedy, and they say, wow, this world it's so negative, it's so bad. And they just stay in that perpetual state of trying to feel that emotion over and over again, as if it's going to make a difference. And I believe the best thing you can do is create some kind of action to gain that feeling back of good. The way you're going to feel good is not from telling other people about what's going on in the world. I think the best way you can feel good is believing you can feel good in the first place, and then acting upon that feeling. So if I believe that music is very good, I should produce music in order to gain that feeling. If I just stay back and just listen to music, I feel like that's a very surface level of feeling. The best, highest, truest form of feeling, good, comes from within. That's how I perceive it. Now, the statue of depression, I feel like, is how a lot of people are living the world right now. You see a lot of people, just look around, everyone around you. Especially when new games such as Pokemon Go comes out, everyone's very focused on their phone. Not saying that Pokemon Go is a bad thing. I believe it's a very good game. But you can understand from that perspective that everyone's very focused on what's outside their own bubble, what's going on the internet. And you could see on the internet there's a lot of negative things going on. And you can see a lot of people becoming depressed, not really able to socialize with one another just because of that. And I want to try my best to not share my insight, but share my availability and be able to create a community where people can just get together and talk about their truth about how the world is, and their openness to change that perception with honest intentions. That's how I perceive what the truth is. And after reflecting on that, I want to always give the truth to others. For people that know me in real life, they see me as a very open person and a very honest and truthful person. And the reason why is because I believe I should not give anything less. I should always give the truth to people. And when I give the truth to people, I am very vulnerable. But that gives me the opportunity to change myself. I can give out my old self, and then other people can mold me in the right direction. If you don't do that, if you close up and block off a lot of walls, it's very hard to see who you really are and change yourself. It might take many, many years to do such a thing, to change. But for me, I can change very rapidly because I'm able to open myself freely to other people and say, this is what I'm doing. What do you guys think of it? And be open to suggestions. A real life example I can give about how this is relevant is a game called League of Legends. So in League of Legends, I played this maybe for about 4 years, and I was able to climb very rapidly from silver to diamond. And I believe the reason why I was very open or very rapid was because I was very open to suggestions. I'd say, okay, what are other people doing? What can I do better? And I'm always focusing on myself. Sometimes I was way too hard on myself when I didn't need to be, but I was very, very focused on myself and what I need to do. When I see many players that are bronze or silver and they say, oh, Andrew, I believe that I'm better. They've always said that to me. They say, Andrew, I'm better than these guys. I deserve to be diamond. I deserve to be gold. But I have a lot of bad players on my team. That right there is the truth. But the thing is, that's their own truth. They created that perception in their mind and they believed it, and now it comes into fruition. So now every time they play a game, they're more focused on what other people are doing wrong, and they're not focused on what they're doing right, like what other people are doing right and what they could be doing better as individuals. And I see that every single time. I always give people a chance. I always thought maybe I'm wrong, and let me see if this guy is right. So I go and I watch a game of that said player, and I see, okay, what are they doing wrong? What are they doing right? And I can see clearly the opportunities that they're missing in their games. But they keep telling me, no, that's not it. It's the other players. And I keep trying to tell them, no, you could have won that game. But they just can't see it. And I believe that truth is very similar to opportunity. You can only see it when you're ready for it. And I believe that each and every player that, at least for League of Legends, deserves to be in their ranking. And if you don't think otherwise, it's all about your perception. It's all about what you could do better, but you refuse to think that because you're too focused on the negative things in life. And when I saw that in a video game, I try to translate that to real life as well. So I believe that I'm not a billionaire yet, and I don't know anyone that's a billionaire, but I truly believe that a billionaire sees opportunity that broke people can't see, including myself. And it doesn't even have to be broke people. It could be people that are just, around the average level of income. And those billionaires probably see so many other things that I'm not seeing right now, what other people are seeing right now. But if I believed that billionaires are different from me, then I could never become one. And it's based on that viewpoint that makes or breaks people. So if you're a broke person, you're probably always in a perpetual state of thought of saying, I'm always broke. Cash is very little, right? It's very rare to find. But the thing is, if you're a wealthy person, money is everywhere. It's abundant, and you get to see it everywhere you go. And I feel like in order to go from being broke to being wealthy, you have to change your thought of being, I'm a broke person, to saying, there's wealth everywhere. There's money everywhere. Excuse me. I just have to go and find it and see it everywhere I go. And I believe everyone has the ability to change their lens and see the world in a different perspective. They can have a different truth. And that's what I really love about humanity, is that humans have the ability to change their perspective, to realize something and say, hey, wait a second, I can adapt to the new situation at hand just by realizing something. But you have to be the one to change it. And everyone is somewhat limited to a certain degree, but I believe you can also have higher standards and go up more than what you perceive is your limit, just by believing in it. And I think when we go to school, when we first start off, we're always told things and we think that's the truth. And I think this is where it's very important to have very different perspectives in the world. And I believe video games do that for us. When we play different games like Borderlands, World of Warcraft, League of Legends, all the different genres like shooter games, first-person shooter, MOBA, multi-opponent battle arena, right? MMORPG, strategy games. You have these different perspectives of how people view the world. And when you have those different perspectives, you're constantly changing how you think of the world. But if you only side with one type of thinking, then you're going to be in a perpetual state of consistent. It's not good because you're not adapting, you're not growing. You're just reinforcing what you already know, but it's a little tiny perspective. It's basically like covering your face and saying you don't see anything in the world because you refuse to. That's how I ultimately look at it. And let me go back to talking about school. When we first go to school, we absorb everything as the truth. And once we realize, hey, wait a second, what this guy, I don't think that's actually true. That's when you start growing and maturing as a person. Is you're told all these things when you're little and you're like, okay, I believe that. I believe in Santa Claus. I believe Tooth Fairy. I believe that global warming is real. I believe all this, right? And then from there, someone's going to tell you something different, right? And either A, you either stay with the status quo with what you believe in, right? Or B, you change what you believed in because someone else told you otherwise, right? And that's what I really find fascinating about the world is that you could believe in things that other people don't believe in. And that's okay because that's just how you view the world. And I believe that's how religion is very important in the world, even for people that are non-religious. Don't get me wrong. There's a difference between facts and truth. When facts are given to you, you have to realize, okay, this is factual. I can't disregard it. That's different from the truth because the truth is spoken from one person to another. So that person could be misinformed, he could have misread it on the internet in an article. Even in our history, we are told truths based on other people's ideas of what the truth was. So how do we necessarily know what they're saying is a fact? We don't. We just have to trust. Maybe there's some things where we can actually dig up the earth and find whether or not what they're saying is true. But for the most part, we're relying on other people for what we believe what the world is. And half of it could be wrong. And that's the fascinating thing about this world, is that we know so little about the world, but we could do so much right now. So I believe that the reason why I wanted to do this podcast is I wanted to give my perspective on what the truth is. And I want to break it down and have people say, no, Andrew, this is not true. This is what I believe the truth is. And from there, you just start molding pieces together. You start expanding because you decided to give yourself to the world. And that's when everyone gets to connect with one another. Going back to religion, I never want to tell someone they're wrong about the religion. Because if they believe that a certain religion for them is true, then that's just how it's going to be. It really depends on what they do with that truth. If they believe that, let's say, God is good and God is real, and they give back to other people for it, I don't see what the problem with that is. So, but if they hurt others, though, in the name of a certain religion, then that's a bad thing to do. And that it doesn't matter what religion it is or who they do it for. It matters about the intention of why they do those things. The intention of what they do with that information of what they believe in. So, last thing I want to say is that since everyone here is able to change the way of thinking, If you guys don't believe that, by the way, I want you guys to try it. That's what I wanted to get here is I believe that everyone can change the way they think. But if you guys don't believe that, just try it for 1 week or even 10 days, 7 to 10 days. I want you guys to just try being more positive. This is known as the Positive Mental Challenge, and I learned it from Anthony Robbins, by the way. He wrote it in the book called Awaken the Giant Within. And he talks about trying this challenge where you only think positive for 10 whole days, I believe. And this has done wonders for me because I focus mainly on the positive and there's no room for negative. I don't have any time to think about the negative things, to think about the past, to think about the coulda, woulda, shoulda, because I'm too busy thinking about the positive and creating actions that reinforce that. There's no time for being negative now. And I want you guys to think about your dreams and think about your role models, the positive ones in your life, and try to think to yourself and say, what can I do today to reinforce this positive thinking, this positive feeling, and just see if it makes a difference, right? Try for a week and say, okay, I've been like this before and now I tried something different and this is how I feel now. And then compare the difference. If it doesn't work for you, then I was proven wrong. If it does work for you, then that's great. I want to hear about it and I want you guys to let me know what actually happened. That's it for this episode of The Truth Will Set You Free. And I really loved it. I really love speaking from the heart. I think I need to find a balance between being more organized and just winging it. But I really enjoyed just saying what I believe in and hearing others say the same thing as well. So thank you guys for listening. And I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast and learned something new from it. Thank you so much.